Yeah, they still on scholarship.
Yeah, everything else taken care of.
The first thing in NIL back in the days was if you went to college and you also got drafted by a Major League Baseball team at the same
Right.
time.
But the way they've gotten it is they've got the toothpaste is out of the tube, and nobody is willing to try to force it back in.
Hello again and welcome everyone to the N.C.AA, not just another sports show. I am your host, KD, and I never give up my real name because I don't want anybody chasing me down about some money I owed them on some bets. I did terrible. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. Monday night. It was terrible. It was terrible. But at any rate, I want to welcome you all to another edition of N.C.AA. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Follow us on Twitter at N.C.AA Show. Follow us on Instagram at no.j.a.s. Follow us on Facebook, N.C.AA Show. Follow us on YouTube at the N.C.AA Show. And of course, I wouldn't be me without my right hand, the man with the plan, the man who's looking a little bit better than he was the other day, but we're not going to bring up old news. Tank, tell the people what's up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope y'all staying safe out there. For those of you in Florida, prayers going out to you. We're going to try to keep you entertained. Hey, let's go ahead and jump into it. We got a lot of good stuff going on.
That indeed. And me being a Florida native, Tampa native myself, I just want to wish my family and everybody. I've been getting some text, everybody saying they safe, a couple of lights out, but we do want to wish Florida and everyone in Florida safety during this hurricane season, particularly Hurricane Milton. And so, having said that, I want to start out with the top news of the day. Robert Saleh fired from the New York Jets. Now, the thing about that is a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. And we kind of go over things as far as what the segments are concerned. His name wasn't the one that came up. It was Peterson. And we just got hit over the head with this Saleh. And so there's been some questions about how it went about, him being not just fired, but escorted out of the office.
Dick.
The situation with the flag bearing on his ornamented on his garments, as they were at the game. Were they France, England?
Yeah, and yeah, France, and he's Lebanese of Lebanese.
He's Lebanese. So there's a lot. It's a lot more than just Saleh being fired going on in the news. However, that's the outside of the news because that's the speculated stuff. So I'm going to stay in line with the football of it. And Tank, you go ahead and you lead the people in with your knowledge, as you do, of what you feel this Saleh situation is about.
To be honest, to me, it's the Jets doing Jets things. I mean, there's a reason why they haven't done anything of substance for 20 some years. They got the longest playoff drought in the league at this point. They haven't developed a quarterback truthfully and since Namath. You had Richard Todd, who just didn't get it done. You had Ken O'Brien, who was decent, but their track record with quarterbacks over the past 50 years is not good.
You didn't like Mark Sanchez?
Mr. Butt Fumble, no.
Oh.
I mean, they got to the conference championship behind him in spite of him. There's a reason why he didn't, as we talked about Sunday, or shall I say early Monday morning. There's a reason why he never even made it to the recycle bin. He went straight to the trash heap.
Absolutely.
They have no. The Jets don't have a plan. They brought in a defensive guy who was a defensive coordinator, and everybody says it's an offensive league, so that's why these offensive coordinators and these quarterback coaches wind up getting the head coaching jobs. They went with a defensive guy who did his job. Their defense, they've had a good defense since he's been there. We need to get us a quarterback. We need to go and get somebody who's a future Hall of Fame. Let's go get Aaron Rodgers. Because they had Zach Wilson. They went first round draft pick, Zach Wilson. That didn't work out. They got rid of him. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron came in for a couple of plays, missed last season. This year he has been bad. He had a decent game the other week, and everybody, yeah, he's back or whatever. And now he's fired. Now they fired the coach, and they replaced the coach with the defensive coordinator. So and what are they gonna do? Decide to bring Hackett in and make him the head coach next year? I don't know what the Jets are doing. The Jets just do Jets things on offense. When it comes to offense, they don't ever develop anything on offense. They have pieces, but those pieces never can develop fully because they never can get it right under center. They can't. They just can't. I don't know what the problem is. I think bringing in Aaron Rodgers wasn't a good move because Aaron's looking like a coach killer. I mean, he should have been at training camp all this time in the OTAs. You missed all of them last year. You missed all this time. You missed all of last year, so you didn't get chemistry with the guys that you're going to be playing with. Now you're complaining because guys aren't doing what they should be doing in the regular season because you weren't there for OTAs. You weren't there for minicamp and getting your chemistry down with those guys. I mean, you're coming in like, well, I've been playing X number of years, so I know what I'm doing. You don't know this team. You don't know these guys. You haven't played with them. You missed all of last year. He should have been there like a rookie trying to get his timing and trying to get his chemistry down with all of those guys and learning that offense and everybody getting on the same page. I don't think that Saleh should have been fired, at least not this early in the season. I mean, it's not like they're in a division that that everybody's running away from. They should have kept him. They need to take the dang keys to the franchise away from Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is who's running this show, and that's what I think. And it's not working for them. Now, if he go out over the next couple of weeks and all of a sudden they're scoring 30-some points a game or whatever, oh, well, I guess I was wrong, but I don't see that happening. This is his last year anyway under contract. We don't know if he's coming back next year. He might decide that he doesn't want to come back and play, period, or he might decide that he doesn't want to come back and play for the Jets and shop himself to the highest bidder. So they should have just kept Saleh. They should have kept Saleh and let them try to work things out. But instead of going, and we don't know what's going to happen with them at the end of this year if they don't make it. Because really, if they don't make it and at least win one playoff game, this whole season's been a waste.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions early morning.
And you heard him say, well, I've never done that before. 3 interceptions in the first half. That's not something that usually happens.
Let me tell you why Robert Saleh got fired. A lot of people might not believe what I'm about to say right now. You know why Robert Saleh got fired? Robert Saleh got fired because of Tom Brady. And a lot of people don't understand what I mean by what I'm about to say. The New York Jets started drinking the Tom Brady comeback Kool-Aid with another franchise. And yes, Aaron Rodgers got hurt the first year. You know, wished him well, recovered. Okay. But the New York Jets began drinking the Tom Brady Kool-Aid, and they thought they could find, and he did too, the fountain of youth in Aaron Rodgers. And they had a youthful defense, youthful wide receiver core, youthful running back, and everything was just going to gel with this veteran. But somebody might say, well, it worked with Tom. Contrary to popular belief, Tom is more of a technician and master than any other player I've ever seen. When he got with the Bucks just needed a Duke, because they had all the GI Joes they needed. They just needed a Duke to give them the raw. And don't get me wrong, Tom, out of that season, Tom had about 5 flashes of Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But 11 games? Come on now, that was that defense. That was that defense that won that Super Bowl. But it was enough to win a Super Bowl and get people thinking they were drinking the Tom Brady Kool-Aid. Somebody might be saying to me, well, Kevin, KD, what about Joe Montana when he went to
Your Chiefs.
the Chiefs? Let's be clear. Joe Montana last game in San Francisco, I think he had like 118.6 rating before they pushed the youth out and went into young. And then he went down to 88, 89 ratings. He was a shell of himself those last 2 years too. And he was effective, yes. But he was a shell of himself. Let's look at another one that went to the Jets and went to was it the Jets first then Minnesota? Brett Favre.
Yeah.
We continue believing that these over 35 quarterbacks have this, oh, I can just go to F5, I can just drink me some Vitality juice, drink a few more V8s, take some Viagra, whatever I need, and get out on that field and do what I need to do. You are clearly a shell of yourself, and it's time to really look at that. Tom is still, and wasn't that good, but that's still an anomaly. I don't think it works. I think Atlanta might find that out soon too.
Also, what you're saying is, I get your point with that, but also with those guys, particularly Manning, or Manning falls in that category.
Manning falls in that category.
You got
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Then you got, like I said, we got Montana back then, and we also had Brady. But you also, not just mentally and not just physically, what they still had and what they brought, but they also brought that leadership and that mentality where they changed the culture of the team. Rodgers isn't changing the culture. Yeah, Rodgers not changing the culture.
Favre could be considered a leader off the athleticism, but then again, he was kind of selfish too.
But he did, but he will change the culture. Those guys will change the culture and make everybody else play up to what, hey, this is what I'm used to doing, and this is what I'm used to being around. So you guys got to get up to my level and do it. Rodgers isn't that type of guy. Rodgers is more interested, and he said it himself, he's more interested in the league MVPs than win the Super Bowls.
Because he's so talented. He's so talented. He was dependent on that arm that he just don't have no more.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Joe Montana and Tom Brady were not the most gifted athletes. So the leadership quality in them had to be the tide that made all the ships rise to the top.
And you also hear all those guys that we named. You hear all of their all of their former teammates talk glowingly about them. You don't hear people talking glowingly about Aaron Rodgers. The only person is James Jones, who just refuses to say anything bad about.
No, James Jones, and Beast Mode.
Yeah.
They don't say bad words about Aaron Rodgers.
You know, but everybody else would tell you, hey, he's this, that, and
I don't owe you. I don't owe you any money.
yeah,
So I'm still on that.
I mean, everybody else would tell you whatever, but you don't hear anything about those other guys who mentioned. Nobody says anything bad about them. Not because, and it's not just because, hey, well, we're gonna be good teammates, good soldiers. No, because those guys were leaders and didn't ask any more of you than they asked of themselves. They weren't they were holding you to the level of accountability that they were placing upon themselves. Rodgers seems to, he's got that I'm the smartest guy in the room mentality. Have you even when we go back to COVID, hey, well, you've been vaccinated? Well, I've taken steps to, take care of myself. Have you been immunized? I've done. Dude, did you get jabbed or not? That's a yes or no question. We don't need a spill. Either you got the shot or you didn't get the shot. That's just an example of how he is. He thinks that he's the smartest person in the room. When you listen to him, he's condescending and sarcastic at the same time, and he thinks it's being funny because he's always been because what he's done over the course of his career. People give him a pass for it instead of calling him out on it.
Do you think he's presented that type of attitude to Saleh?
Yeah,
And that friction was.
I think he did. Yeah. He should have been, like I said before, he should have been at training camp and OTAs and doing all of this. He should have been at OTAs, getting everything down. He should have been calling these guys, hey, let's get together and let's do this, that, and the other. Like they talked about Brady. Brady during the pandemic getting kicked out of parks because he was calling the guy, hey, y'all, let's go over this offense. Let's learn this thing.
I'm pretty sure social media was out and we had more in-depth information and inside information. Montana was doing that too. I'm pretty sure. I know for a fact, God rest his soul, Peyton Manning he went out and he started, doing some pitch and catches with the receiver at that time. He passed away. Denver receiver.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baby Thomas, yeah.
Yeah. Darius Thomas. Yeah. So you make that connect. Even Tom Brady made a connect with AB.
Yeah.
Coming to my fold, even though this may cost me, coming to my fold.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do the thing. So you could see, like, I think New York is just one of those franchises that is allowing this golden guy from California to take over their situation. And he obviously, he's bigger than the coach. And you see he got fired. However, all of that being said, you still have to consider this in the situation. Robert Saleh will still make close to $20,000 per day for about the next 2 years. That it will be that breaks down to $583,000 and $333.33 per month, $134,615.38 a week, $19,178 a day, $199.09 an hour, and $13.32 per minute. So
what you saying is he ain't hurting for no money.
He ain't hurting. His ego and pride for the next 24, 48, I lost my job, might hit for a little bit, but he might miss the nostalgia of preparing for the game Saturday and Sunday. But come Monday morning, he will be all right. I'm gonna say next Tuesday. I think they get paid when the player get paid too.
Yeah,
He'll be all right.
yeah,
He'll be all right.
yeah.
He
And
will be.
I would, yeah, and I will say this: Rodgers, I believe Rodgers is a big issue. But I will say this also: I don't think that Saleh was ready to be a head coach when they hired him. I think he needed some more grooming, and he might be one of those guys who's better as a coordinator than as a head coach. That
Take your time
being,
and come on back. Right.
yeah, and that being said, I still don't think they should have gotten rid of him at this point, at this juncture in the season. They should have let them ride it out to see what him and Rodgers were able to accomplish for over the course of the season. Because to be honest, what you've seen from the solid Rodgers combination is 5 games. You basically have given them 5 games together and said, okay, it's been 5 games, y'all not this ain't gonna work.
This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Now, speaking of money, for which I calculated so well and so eloquently, we're gonna move to the NCAA. Breaking news. Aside from the Stephon Diggs news, we ain't gonna talk about that though. But breaking news: the NCAA Division I Council approved the elimination of the National Letter of Intent program on today. Well, yesterday now. Today. It's not yet. So this is definitely a real game changer. It's even more. It's just another chapter of the NIL game changer. And it was pretty much inevitable. This kind of takes away the tradition of signing day. Was signing day really anything? Because all you were signing was your contract to the highest bidder, which you were years before, but you definitely know you're signing with the highest bidder now. And so, with that being said, we are just trying to get your opinion and comment below. But Tank, what's your opinion on this National Letter of Intent being abolished and the NIL situation as far as these players are concerned? These college players, I should say.
I don't like that they've gotten rid of it. I mean, it's more traditional than anything else, but it takes away that player's big day. It takes away that school's big day. Hey, we won signing. Look who all we got. Look what recruits we got this season. And it also, I think, it puts a stamp on college football is completely gone. It's no longer an amateur sport. I mean, these just happen to be these are professionals who just happen to go to class, who happen to be enrolled
College
in
football
school.
is definitely coming into a amateur for real like league.
Because the big deal used to be, okay, first of all, for people who don't know, if you get a full, like we say, you got a full ride, I got a 4-year scholarship. It's not truly a 4-year scholarship. Each year you have to sign off.
Resign, right.
You have to resign. They saying, okay, we're going to extend your scholarship. So it's actually 4 individual contracts, one each signed each year. But still, it's a big deal to be able to get there, and it got to where, hey, I got 4 hats of the 4 schools that want me the most. It's on my list. Now, which one am I going to choose? Everybody's tuning in. You got some kids who sign them in the hot tub, but I mean, it's a big deal. It's like the fulfillment of.
And remember, ladies, for all of your comfort and around the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUIKVISITS.com. For all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear, make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that I took you.
They've taken away the tradition of signing day. These guys, they've played Little League, Pop Warner, they played throughout high school. They wanted to get a full ride to go to college. They wanted to play for whatever school they're going to. And now they don't have to sign that piece of paper. Obviously, to be honest, it was more ceremonial than anything else, but it's still all eyes on you as you signing that piece of paper saying this is who I'm committing to my next 4 years to play. And now they don't have to do that anymore. It takes away a lot of the pomp and circumstance, and it basically makes it where, okay, I'm not committed to anybody now. I can commit in February. I can commit in May. I don't have to commit until I decide this is where I want to go. And so what they're gonna do? Leave open scholarships to a kid till he decides the day before he graduates high school where he's gonna go. It's not. I don't like it. They're just making it where there's no longer college is no longer an amateur sport. I mean, because you got the NIL, now you got these guys not having to sign these national letters of intent. It's just, I don't like it. I'm a traditionalist, and I understand times change, but it's a big deal to sign your name saying, "Hey, this is where I'm going. I'm going to my state university. I've always wanted to go here. Now I'm getting to go, and now I'm not signing." Now it's like, "Hey, you might as well just call the coach. Hey, coach, I decided, yeah, I'm coming there. You sure? Yeah, okay. All right, we'll send you the paperwork." It's it's not a big deal anymore. It's not a big deal.
All your food delivery needs, make sure you go to Light Snack. That's LYTE snack.com. And make sure for all of your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce.
Where you going?
Doesn't the transfer portal not make it a big deal too? Like the transfer portal is the delayed, but they pretty much decided what they're not going to do once they, you know, once they have a fallout with the coach.
Yeah, but they still were signing the national letter of intent. Now, I mean, the things they've done have helped and hurt at the same time because you've made players employees. They're employees, and if you really want to be honest about it, they're not even just employees. They're more like mercenaries. They just go to the highest bidder now. I don't like where I am now. The coach left, so I'm gonna leave. I can understand that. They aren't paying me as much as I think I should be making from NIL, so I'm going to go elsewhere. Okay, but you're starting here. You're a Heisman candidate. You're looked at as a top 10 overall pick. Why are you going to leave here and go somewhere else, enter the portal?
Like a free agent would in the NFL.
Yeah, they turned it into NFL.
Like my question is to your point. Is your point about this because you're only 17, 18 years old doing this and you're not an adult? Or is your point what it's turning it into? For instance, look at and I'm talking letter of intent NIL now. Look at Williams out of Alabama. The media is giving him all this hype first year. Like I'm going to go back to another person that had a lot of first year hype. Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney, Antonio Cromartie. This is not the first. This is not the first college guy that we've seen be a superstar breakout freshman year. The expectations for sophomore, junior, senior don't pan out. But here's the thing: the difference is Williams can negotiate a contract based on what he did his freshman year, not an expectation. The coaches may expect him to do something to that degree, but he's going to say, just like a professional would, I've done this. I ain't coming unless you pay me this. I'll go over here to Fresno State. Let California give me some money. Because you still have to disperse your Alabama. If Alabama continues to recruit and reload, Williams needs to realize that there's another Williams coming right behind you, buddy. And we have to realize that we got to pay him too. So you can't be negotiating. This is the thing that this is the snowball effect that I was in fear of, because I see both sides of the argument. So this Williams, and this might come down to his own moral, how he came up, and he's not listening to the hype. Going to his sophomore year, say he plays this year out very well. He goes into the sophomore year with the expectation that he does everything. He doesn't try anybody for the dollar. Or he might be something else. What do we expect him to do?
I would say, hey, if you're there and things are going well and you like, if the only thing that's different is you want more money, you need to just stay at Alabama instead of going. I mean, because okay, it's obvious you aren't there trying to get a degree because you like you got some guys. The guy in Miami who's in his 9th year damn eligibility. Come on now. You got guys who they jumping around the highest bidder. Slutko or whatever his name is, Stuco at UNLV came from freaking Holy Cross. He was not getting drafted into the NFL. He's a graduate player at UNLV, and they should pay me $100,000 instead of the $3,000 a month that they're giving me. I mean, you're either in school to play and ideally get your degree. That's what you're supposed to be there for, but we all know why you're there. And you do that, or you just gonna dang mercenary and go to the highest bidder. Because the reverse can happen too. What happens if you came in? We're gonna pay you $200,000 this year in the NIL money as a freshman, and you can't even because you just suck. So the next year, well, we're not gonna pay you $200,000. You weren't on the field last year. You didn't earn it. We're not gonna give you anything this year. Are you gonna get mad and leave? What if they start doing the same thing the NFL does? Okay, you got a contract, but things aren't working out, so we want to restructure this. That comes into effect. But that's what they did. They opened up a can of worms to make these guys employees. And NIL in its basic form was not supposed to make these guys rich. It was supposed to give these guys a reasonable stipend, make some money off of their name, image, and likeness. If you aren't drafted, and if you aren't a high pick, or if you don't play professional ball, it helps give you a head start in life because you have some money, ideally, that you would have saved up to get started in your career. If you go on a high pick or whatnot, hey, that was just gravy money. What they actually need to do, they need to put a cap on it. There needs to be a cap on what you can get NIL. And some people go, well, they got a right to make as much as they want. No, because you got NIL.
People saying that is the mama.
Yeah, they're trying to trickle it down to high school. Now, what happens if you decide in some of these crazy areas, hey, shoot, we're gonna trickle it down to Pop Warner.
Name, image, likeness.
Yeah.
Name, image, likeness is an amateur
right.
situation, and I have a fear that it's going to go to high school, and I also have a fear that the whole media thing is going to blow somebody up in high school, even down to Pop Warner, to the point where, because high school will find itself a victim of that, and we're not going to get into high school too much, but high school will find itself a victim of that because these parents are well aware of the tickets that their child brings to those boosters in that stadium.
Yeah.
They're well aware of that. It's certain high school programs where, okay, the best kids come to this high school,
right?
And these stands are going to always be filled traditionally. But there's a lot of high schools across the United States where that one dude who comes to that school every 6 years
Mm-hmm.
Change the game.
Right.
So it's gonna filter down. And even we all have seen this before, even in high school. That high school kid is negotiating his district
Yep.
to the highest bidder. And that's always been happening.
Yeah. So I think they need to put a cap on it because it's not, it hasn't evened the playing field. People think that it has, but it hasn't. Not too many schools can compete with a Texas or Texas A&M or Bama or Michigan or an Ohio State as far as the amount of NIL money they can produce.
Bama gonna fall out. Bama will fall out. Bama
Yeah.
will fall out because a lot of the NIL money is pushed by corporate money.
Yeah.
And Alabama as a city, Tuscaloosa, and even though they got a lot of alumni, you're not going to be able to compete with Los Angeles County and at USC and University of Miami. Schools up north, New York, we're going to start getting that stuff. Texas schools, their
Yeah.
whole pipeline is just what it is.
Yeah.
Oil money deep.
Yeah. I don't think that it's gonna bring about parity like people are saying it's parity. I think it's basically it's a thinning of the herd where you got a bunch of mediocre programs. I mean,
Well, what you're going to end up having is parity. Parity will only probably be seen in the 12-player playoffs.
yeah,
And then you're going to have, because I think with the NFL rules, 3 years
yeah,
before you get on the football field, that's going to hold them down. They're not like the NBA, but parity is going to begin when those schools who have to field 4-year players
yeah,
start going into the playoffs, beating talented youth.
yeah. Because right now, and it was, this past weekend was an example. Vanderbilt every 4 or 5 years, that class that stayed for 4 or 5 years rises up and wins 5, 6, or 7 games, and that's a high watermark for them. This might be the year that Vanderbilt does that, and then the next 4 years,
Vanderbilt go through another 40 years of losing
yeah,
everybody in the SEC.
and
Right.
they aren't gonna have, they won't be, and it might be where they can't do that anymore because they don't have NIL money. Name the last player that you can think of drafted from Vanderbilt.
It's got to be one.
I can
Probably baseball, but drafted in the NFL.
Yeah. NFL. The last one I can think of is what's his name? Jay Cutler,
Jay Cutler.
Matt Stewart, who played linebacker for the Falcons.
Are we talking about a top 10 guy?
No, I'm just talking about period. Those guys who are going to the next level don't go to Vanderbilt. They don't, or football. They don't go to Wake Forest. They don't go to what's the school? They don't go to Rice.
You don't go to Rice.
Yeah, and they can't. Those schools aren't able to compete with these other ones, with these NIL schools now. They just won't be able to. And boosters, and some people think that the boosters are still not allowed to give money directly to players. It still has to be funneled through NIL wise.
All right, you got Oren Burks 2018 third round. Joe Juan Williams 2019. Justin School. Keyshawn Vaughn. I remember that name.
Yeah, are they on rosters?
Dayo Odeyingbo. Last one was 2021.
And I bet you none of them are on the roster.
No, that's another DJ Moore. DJ Moore 2009 Chicago Bear. He was a DB. So yeah, Jay Cutler was your biggest name in 2006.
Yeah, though the guys that are going to the next level and they're gonna produce, they aren't going to. There are certain schools they're not going to, and those schools they're not going to also aren't schools that are gonna have a lot of NIL money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they
got a lot of alumni money.
Right, but not NIL
money.
Yeah,
right, different type of money.
They need to. That's why again they need to cap it. It needs to be capped. This is as much as you can make as a player NIL. There's no reason why. And again, it's not hating on them or whatnot. People love to say you hate on somebody if you don't agree with something that's going on with them. But Shador should not be making $2-3 million a year playing college football. He shouldn't. I mean, it's an amateur. It's supposed to be an amateur sport. Get them a reasonable stipend. And to be honest, you could give those guys $50,000 a year, and they should be straight in college because everything else is taken care of anyway. Doesn't
Yeah, they still on scholarship.
Yeah, everything else taken care of.
The first thing the NIL back in the days was if you went to college and you also got drafted by a Major League Baseball team at the same
Right.
time.
But the way they've gotten it is they've got the toothpaste is out of the tube, and nobody is willing to try to force it back in. It's really for me. And again, maybe I'm gonna get off my lawn dry. Maybe I'm just an old fool. But I think that is messing the game up because now it's all about the money for these guys. Oh, I'm not going to like the guy a couple of years ago in Florida who decided he didn't want to stay there because the money that he said they offered him wasn't coming through. You hadn't done anything.
Where is he now?
Nowhere.
But you know what? That's a valid point because sometimes, and they need to watch that too. If that young man is arguing about that money because of his hype, he probably know what he's not.
Yeah.
He trying to get it all at that point. I want to get it while I'm hot because I know what I'm not.
Exactly. They need to you can give it to them, but it needs to be some earning going on as well. Because again, if you don't produce and also remember it used to be you could only critique a guy so much when he's in college because these just kids, man. You can't talk about them like that. You can't put them on. You can't put them on the top. No, you getting a check now, buddy. We can talk about it. Williams in Alabama, you 17. Son, you dropped five passes last week, son. You need to do better than that. We paying you too much money to be out here. Bro, I'm just 17. I just got out of high school 3 weeks ago. Well, you getting paid now. You need to produce. That's what they are being. That's what they need to be subjected to as well. As soon as that money comes into play, the expectation and everything else that comes with it is elevated. You're no longer a kid. You get paid now.
I got a question. Going off of small school, they produce that one guy every so often. Money. Roger Hype into the NFL. All of these coming into play. What if Ashawn Genty, what's his name?
Yeah,
Ashanti?
Yeah, Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State. He falls in that category. He's a junior.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come back for my senior year. Even though I'm probably gonna go top in the draft, I probably brought back the need for a running back in the NFL. You know, I probably got people wondering, hey, you know, but I'm sitting in a position to where I'm a junior. If USC, University of Miami, Alabama, says we'll give you such and such NIL money that will exceed your rookie contract as in the NFL to come play your senior year. And possibly go back-to-back Heisman, or I didn't win the Heisman, I lost it to whoever. I want to win the Heisman. He's sitting in a little catbird seat because his hype may or may not allow him to want to go back to Boise State.
Yeah, because you got two guys now with the guy Washington who decides he's gonna redshirt himself because he want more money.
Exactly.
Again, the toothpaste is out the tube and nobody's willing to try to put it back in. It's just like you can't put a baby back in the mom.
Toothpaste is out the tube. And the baby that came out the womb saying, show me my money. Yeah. Can't even crawl yet.
But you asking for all of again, it's messing the game up, and it's messing and you got guys they can go to a different school every year if they choose to, because hey, they aren't paying me like I thought they was gonna pay me. I think I should get more than that. I'm outperforming my NIL. I should be getting more money, or so and so has more money.
NIL based upon how you feel.
Right. That's why they need to put a cap on it, because they need to put a cap on it literally and figuratively. A cap meaning this is how much that you're going to be able to get, and it can go up depending on what year you're in, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And a cap also literally figuratively meaning, hey, that's it. We ain't going nobody's going beyond this.
Do you think the cap should work like the NFL cap? Like, for instance, hey, you only get so much to distribute, and then you have to decide what percentage you're going to distribute to your stars versus your other guys.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that either, because
you're still gonna have a lot of kids without a letter of intent saying, because the NFL contract says if we offer you this and you guaranteed on this, you solid here. But no letter of intent is saying you're a free agent under that cap. So you still gonna have some walks, but it does probably push it closer to the parity thing. If you only have $2 million to spend, Shador and Travis are gonna get 40% of that, and then everybody else gets 60%. And your star lineman who blocking for Shador is gonna say, "Well, let's see how good he is if his blind side ain't protected." Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But they need to do that, because at the same time, I want X amount of money to play at this school, well, you need to make sure we going to bowl games, son. You need to make sure we getting in the playoffs and going to a bowl game that's paying us millions, and not going to the Blue Bonnet Emerald Bowl that's paying the school $200,000. The school paying out all this money to go and play in a $200,000 bowl is not worth us paying you $100,000. If this team while you're here is not going to a major bowl, we aren't going to pay you X amount anyway, because apparently you're not producing, you're not worth it. Think about it. I'm paying all this money, this NIL money is going out to all these players on this team, and you've been here for 4 years, and we ain't been to a damn bowl game. We ain't made a playoff game. We playing a bowl game on November 20th. We playing a bowl game on December 3rd.
The Grapefruit Bowl.
Yeah. But you want to get paid this NIL money. If they're gonna do NIL, I mean, because they basically turn these guys into professionals, they need to hold their feet to the fire and say, hey, not only do you need to stay eligible in class, but this team, y'all need to be winning. Otherwise, we're gonna have to start taking some scholarships. You get
I'm talking about like winning to the point where you 10 games, and if you're not making it to a bowl game in the playoffs, it's because of politics and the rankings and all that stuff. But you at least 10 games. All right. So having said all that, Tank, and I know since we've been talking to most of the time about it, shout out to Genty, who is doing so well. I brought up your name, man, because you are doing very well. Heisman candidate. But I just want to get these last words from Tank on tonight's topic, or whatever his last words may be.
Again, dealing with this letter of intent and NIL and college athletics overall, everybody's been clamoring and saying, hey, these guys need to be getting paid for all of this, that, and the other, name, image, and likeness. The way that they can go about getting out of this NIL, if they want to, is because in your college scholarship, you sign off on your name, image, and likeness to be used by the school or by the NCAA for eternity. That's in the scholarship. I don't know if they've changed it since now they're paying these guys, but if it's still in there, they need to take out NIL altogether. say, hey, well, we don't do name, image, and likeness anymore. Only thing we use is a number. Anybody can wear a number. We don't use your name anymore. We don't use your image. We don't use your likeness. We just, hey, you pay, hey, number 35, play running back here. Well, it's been 3 number 35s, yeah, but we've had 35s who played well. I mean, it's it's ridiculous. They need to again cap it and or start holding these kids who are no longer just kids, but they're adults, start holding their feet to the fire like professionals. You need to produce on the field. You need to stay eligible. If you're not eligible, you don't get no damn money, period. Because you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. But if you're playing, you need to make sure this team needs to be in bowl games, and we need to be turning a profit just because of how good this team is. If we're not doing that, you're not getting any NIL money because you're not earning.
Absolutely. All right, my take on the NIL, because I think it's turning into the what I like to call the non-interested league. And what I mean by that is, or not interested league. If you're not paying me right, I'm not interested. And what I say is kind of mirrors Tank a little bit to a degree, because my idea of not NIL but using NIL and paying college players is this: you can't really bolt to the NFL. I mean, you can leave and have your 3 years off the field somewhere else if you want to, but you can't really necessarily bolt to the NFL until your junior year. So let's start right there, because we still want to pay these players for what they're doing. But I sign off on a letter of intent to play here. Or even if I don't sign off on a letter of intent, I lose out. And here's why. Sign off on a letter of intent or not, my letter of intent or not obligates me to a level of at least 3 years. Now, in that 3 years, everybody gets the same money. Everybody gets the same, and make it a larger stipend. Make it a larger stipend. But if I come in with the class of 2025, the class of 2025 is going to be on a certain stipend, whatever that is, inflationary at that time. 2024, y'all just got to be mad that it's a little bit more. It's just what it was. That's just inflation. But anyway, 2025, you come in. You're still playing with the class of 2024, 2023, 2022, more than likely. You all are winning 10 games. You all are generating revenue in that stadium. You all have NIL going on individually, and you're selling jerseys. All of that has an allotted percentage that is placed on for everybody as an NCAA rule, meaning that percentage of the gate, that percentage of the jersey sales, and each individual NIL, you can still do NIL things. Each individual NIL will still have that money, what they're going to have off to the side, but you don't get it yet. You don't get paid that check yet. Here's what happens. At the end of your 3rd year, if you decide to go to the NFL and don't go anymore, you get to make the percentage of what your class has earned when you leave. All your NIL money, if you was doing a $2 million man and you were making $2 million a year, we cut that check 2028. No time before that. We cut the check 2028. Because here's what's going to happen. If you're losing, just like Tank said, anybody going to be buying your jersey? No one's going to be going to the game except the students. You're not going to be getting big TV money. You're not going to be getting playoff money. So your revenue is going to fall based upon your play. Or your revenue is going to rise based upon your play. We can have classes coming out here saying 2025 broke the record for their 4 years, because 2029, when them boys left, they made their average that they graduated with was major. Now, you leave your junior year to go to the NFL or whatever, that's usually what you're doing. Your last year money from your class don't go to you. But you don't have to wait for your class to graduate. You've left, we're going to cut you the check based upon what you've earned. That is how I would regulate all of it. That is how, because the NIL is not just a payment monster. It's a media monster. I'm already hyping you up to make you more than what you is or what you are. But I don't need you to know what you did until we calculate your fund. I don't need you going to financial aid or to the athletic director or the athletic director of finances to find out, hey, how much do we have this year? How much do I look like I'm earning? Get out my face, man. Go to practice. I think they messed around with our check. We're gonna have a system that regulates your check. We're gonna have the checks check the checkers. The NCAA they're gonna check every school. Like for instance, the ACC will check every program in the ACC money that they're generating, and we're gonna know. And then the NCAA gonna have regulators that check the ACC, that they make sure they're giving them kids their just due.
Right.
Because you do not need kids, and you sign your letter of intent to get your money after 4 years every year. You don't have to have a national signing day, but you're signing off as an employee every year to earn your stipend and get your residuals in 3 or 4.
Right.
That's how I believe these players in college should be paid. And that way, Alabama, Miami is getting the same money as Vanderbilt, the same money as. So the only thing you're going to be doing is saying to yourself, you're going to be just doing math like, okay, I want to go to the University of Southern California, but they only seat 75,000. But if I go to University of Michigan,
yeah, they seating 100,000.
So my percentage, if we do well, is just gonna be higher by default. The only way I'm gonna do that is USC does well, and then we start making it to bowl games and bowl games and bowl games. But I'm talking about Mr. Man, the lineman that don't get a NIL, image likeness, the defensive tackle that don't get it. Michigan gonna have better offensive line because my money is the bulk of the gate. All these skill position commercial guys, y'all go play at a 75,000 stadium. I know what I'm trying to earn 3-4 years from now to lead me to a rookie NFL contract. But at any rate, that is my take, because in the new not interested league, that is where we're going. So, having said all that, this is KD. I got my main man Tank. This has been not just another sports show, No Jazz for short. You know why we call it? Because we bring it the real, and we bring no jazz to the situation. We want to make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Facebook, No Jazz Show. Twitter, No Jazz Show. Instagram, no.j.a.s. Make sure you comment, like, tell us how we're doing. Tell us what we need to do. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tank, it's been a good one, man.
Yeah. Also, make sure you hit the share button as well.
Hit the share button. Absolutely. So, salute these people. It's been No Jazz, folks. Thank you for tuning in. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at NOJ.A.S. Follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.